nanohub.org.
Online simulation, and more for nanotechnology.
So welcome everybody. I wanted to thank everybody for coming and thank our presenters today. We have two awesome presenters, Dr. Attila Cakmak and Bob Ehrman from the Center for Nanotechnology Education and Utilization. It's NACK plus more. And looking forward to their talk and hearing about what they're going to have offered next summer for workshops. So take it away, Bob and Ozgar.
As Jarrett mentioned, the title of this talk is Penn State CNEU. It's NACK plus more. Most of you know me as the managing director of the NACK Center, but I'm actually the NACK managing director of an upper level organization called the CNEU, and we're going to talk a little bit about what CNEU has to offer, and perhaps there are some things you were or were not aware of, or you might want to be involved in moving forward. So I wanted to make sure you were all aware, and that's the title of this, the reason for this talk. And we are a part of the MNT-EC organization also. So I'm going to let Dr. Oz, as he's affectionately known, just introduce himself very quickly, and he'll be talking a couple of times during this presentation. So,
thank you, Bob. Thank you. So I'm Oz, and I've been with Penn State NACK for over 7 years. I'm an assistant teaching professor here. I won't take more time for the introductions. Go ahead, Bob.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that reminds me. I've been here for forever, for like 16 years now, coming up in March of this year. And previous to that, I worked in industry for 23 years. So as an engineer and manager and so on. So I'm gonna now talk, begin our official presentation. So. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm the managing director of the Penn State Center for Nanotechnology Education and Utilization. And it's NACK, indeed. That's the NACK logo. But it's more than NACK. CNEU you can think of as an umbrella organization. And under that umbrella, we have many different things going on, some tentacles going on here. And this is some logos on this slide or just depictions that some of them didn't have logos, so I created them for this presentation. We have many different things going on, initiatives that are happening right now. Many things we've done in the past and move forward, but here are some of the things that we have today that we're moving on. I'm not going to go through each of these logos, but because I'm going to talk about them. Ozgar or I are going to talk about them as we move through the presentation. But you can see we are indeed NACK, but we're much more than NACK. Some of these things are subsets of NACK also. So let me move on to the next slide here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is kind of how we originated, which is our Pennsylvania NMT, or Nanofabrication Manufacturing Technology Partnership. And that started way back when in like 1998. So we've been in existence forever. And about 1,000 years, I think that is, if I do the math on that. The PA-NMT partnership is actually what it was, what it is. It is still a partnership amongst, if you see on this slide, I have a picture of our clean room here at Penn, one of our clean room bays here at Penn State. And there's a map on here that shows the map of Pennsylvania. And the little dots on there are actually, the yellow dots are the associate and baccalaureate programs that are partnered with us to send students here to Penn State for 1 semester's worth of training, if you will, or 18 credits, 6 courses, 18 credits. And they come here because we have the equipment here at Penn State. So they do a hands-on capstone semester at Penn State. As I said before, they've been doing this since 1998 and have been coming to Penn State like every year. We used to do it every semester, fall, spring, and summer. Now we've kind of settled on a summer and sometimes in the fall, and we're doing some remote now. Obviously, it's more popular now because of our current situation, but that doesn't get the hands-on. We really like the hands-on aspect, and as do our customers, which are the people who employ our students. The origins of this capstone actually started when Penn State was an NNIN member, National Nanotechnology Infrastructure Network member. Way back when, like I said, in the mid 90s, when industry came to our founding director and PI, Dr. Stephen Fonash, they asked Dr. Fonash to say, hey, we are dying for workers. We need people. Can you help us by providing training to some workers? And what he did is he actually worked with them, and as well as the state of Pennsylvania, got funding, and the original students came here for free, basically on the state's dime. And that is what got us accelerated and started way back when. And we then created this MNT, Micro Nano Capstone Semester. And we've now had over 950 students go through this semester, and those students either go directly into industry as technicians, and they might be process specialists or engineers, depending upon what school they come from, because we have baccalaureate partners as well as associate degree partners, community college partners here in Pennsylvania, or they move on to further academic pursuits, after they complete their baccalaureate, move on from associates to baccalaureate, maybe on to master's degrees, and some have even gone on to PhDs. We actually have a couple that are actually teaching at some of the schools that we partner with, so it's kind of a neat circle of life, if you will. This is the skill set that was jointly developed between the industry advisory boards, many years of industry advisory boards about how we this eye chart is a skill set, but it basically works in, and I'm not going to go through all these, but it's health and safety, processing skills, equipment and processing skills, patterning, fabrication, both top down and bottom up, characterization techniques, and then professional skills, which is the things that our customers, which were in that time the industry, and actually there were some educational institutions on our board too who were hiring our students. Okay, and so what this slide is actually to exhibit that we have actually before this the students were actually did not have most students did not have training at this level unless they got into graduate school, and this training actually is again at the second year associate level, 200 level courses, and it's both labs and lectures. They get into our clean rooms here at Penn State, our nanofabrication facilities, our large facility here, as well as over the years we also developed a teaching clean room, and we utilize that for probably the majority of our training at this point. Probably 80% of our training is done in our teaching clean room now. So with that as background, I want to now jump into what kind of most people here probably know Ozgar and I for, which is our NACK Center, and kind of some of the subsets of what we're doing now and how we're going to participate over the next several years in the MNT-EC Center or MNT-EC Center. So one of the things one of our initiatives is to, and has been since NACK really was officially started back in like 2008, was to enable workforce education across the country, and MNT workforce education, and that's primarily at community and technical colleges. However, we also work with four-year universities and colleges who are going to be in partnership with the MNT, with those community and technical colleges to provide workforce. And that could be at the associate level, but it could also be at the baccalaureate level. As you know, technicians are sometimes at the associate, sometimes at the baccalaureate level. And really kind of what we're trying to do is supply educational resources and create infrastructure for the U.S. micro nanotechnology workforce. And as I said, we've been doing that for quite a few years. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our initiatives. So one of the things we try to do is catalyze workforce programs across the country. Back in like the early, mid 2000s and late 2000s, well, maybe the 2010s, we might have had 13 or 14 different places that had active micro nano programs. And some of them have come and gone, and some of them have gone because one of our mantras is to work in partnership with universities. And the reason we try to foster that is because those universities already have infrastructure created, already have funding to maintain and purchase new equipment and so on like that. And this is just and sometimes they have mandates to work with, with community technical college, with workforce. So it's a nice partnership if it can be worked out. Doesn't always work out, but some tried to go out on their own and they got really new equipment and then they kind of went poof, they went away because they didn't have the person left that was the champion. And it's a tough thing to do on your own. So we've been working for many years and working with institutions. Right now, that I know of, there are active full programs in Pennsylvania, New York, Minnesota, Texas, Utah, and Arizona. Like I said, we really try to work on partnerships, and we've been working in many, many schools in integrating materials into curriculum, and that's been very widespread across the country. So one present example of where we're working is in California. There's a lot of things going on in California right now, and several different initiatives in Southern California. One is in Santa Barbara, which is planning to work with, because of strong industry drive, like way back when in 1998 in Pennsylvania, there have strong industry folks there telling the micro and nanofab facility there at UCSB that they need workforce, and UCSB under the leadership of Dr. Demis John is working with folks around in the community colleges in the region to try to create a program to satisfy that industry need. And they're working with not just me or not just NACK, but folks in the MNT community. We have a great community, as you guys are probably well aware, that are in this meeting. So another area that we've been working on is creating classroom resources for the country. And providing them. We created them for ourselves, and an offshoot of that that we got funding for early in 2000s was to actually facilitate the distribution of those resources through our NACK Center, and we provide classroom resources, and we have them available on our NACK, nanoforme.org website. And if Billy or Jared could put that in it's going to be on our handout, by the way, our one-page handout. All these websites are going to be are in the handout. But on Nano4Me website, as well as on the Nano4Me website, we have resources for professional development, K-12 resources, but the crux of what we really are out there are for these programs and the post-secondary resources, which are the 6 courses that I mentioned earlier, are all available for people to utilize. Another place where we have recently upgraded some of our NACK training is the partnership that we have with NanoHub, and through work with Tanya Fultons and Lynn Zentner over the years, and the folks there at Purdue and NanoHub. We've been working for now almost 4 years upgrading resources, and we'll be able to see some of those resources. I'm going to now, this is just an example of what you might find. You find lectures in PowerPoint and PDF form on all the different topics, as well as videos of our doing the training, which are really kind of meant for your own professional development. You could share them in classes, but they're really there for you to kind of see how we teach what we have there. And we have laboratories, both template laboratories and turnkey laboratories that you could just utilize. And templates are just something that you can use and then create your own format for. All this stuff can be modified and utilized how you like to, and they're all available for free, courtesy of the NSF. So I'm going to let Ozgar, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. I'm going to let Ozgar share a little bit of some of these resources, if I can get to the stop share button. There we go.
So we're going to quickly navigate in these 2 main websites that Bob just mentioned. The first one is Nano for me, as easy as that. So once you scroll down, you see here that says free educator resources. So I've been always receiving emails from educators like saying, okay, so I have all these lectures on YouTube, etc., but I need to conduct some simple experiments, but I don't have any means to access any of that. So hopefully this will be one of the sources that you can always reach out to. So if you go in there, you'll see that there's lots of different categories like professional development, K-12, and post-secondary resources. So those are the ones that Bob mentioned, the 6 courses, and we're going to quickly look into that. We also are currently trying to still translate them into Spanish too, and several of these courses, the 6 are translated. It's still an ongoing project. So if you go into this post-secondary resources, let's go to 213. I'll show you why. So you will see here several of these lecture materials. Let's look into this one called self-assembly. So for those folks who are familiar with that, that's not really the issue here, but you can find all these like PPT, PDF videos. The video is going to be the lecture itself, but you also have an associated lab. So if you go into that link, it will need you to basically, and if you need to, you'll need to again proceed in that link, the self-assembly lab. It will ask you to log in. So you won't see this immediately, the download sign, but I already had logged in. I had an account here. I needed an account. So once you download this PDF file, so you'll see the whole the manual, lab manual from start, like with the objective, the background, every little detail is explained, and you will see how we conduct these labs here. The NMT capstone semester, like we asked students to do all these chemistry on these 3 different substrates, just as an example. But on top of it, not just reading material, but we have provided these links to many of these, let's go into one of them, these videos, like say the contact angle measurements. And you can see here how, I'll just scroll very quickly, how we do the labs here over the videos. Okay, I don't want to take more time. So if we go to the other source, thanks to the NanoHub folks, we're also translating or uploading them together to NanoHub them too, and we're uploading newer labs, like for example, atomic layer deposition. You can go in any one of these, and we have extra lectures here, the newer lectures, especially in the nanotechnology applications. We recently updated them. So you can go and look into like several of these new applications that nanotechnology people in the field are working on. Okay, thank you.
So let me move on to the next area here. And the next area I want to talk about is professional development. For many years, we actually did professional development here. Brought many people here. Actually had about over the many years of CNEU's professional development training, both at the state level as well as the national level, regional and then national level. We brought teachers in from locally Pennsylvania, educators from community colleges, baccalaureate schools, and then when we went national with NACK, we brought people in from all across the country. And of course, that's quite expensive to do, and your return on investment is not necessarily that great. You know, people come, some of them are very serious about being there. They want to learn, but not necessarily, they might not actually take that material and then utilize it within their classrooms to upgrade their classes. So actually, we had, like I said, I think 1,500 total folks, around 1,500 came over the many years of the professional development, again, either funded by the state or the National Science Foundation. So when we became a resource center instead of a national center, we timed out as a national center, we applied to be a resource center. Professional development, we didn't have enough money to bring those folks in, so it forced us to look at another mode of operation. And we decided that we would try, we've been using live streaming for quite a while through another effort, the RAIN network, which I'm going to talk about in a bit. and we decided, let's try doing professional development through remote training. So we started that in 2018, and we actually have done that with partners across the country that we had worked with over the years. That had, some of them are here on this seminar, in this seminar. And we actually did live stream training, both lecture and then hands-on in the lab, some simulations and so on, for 3 years basically. And it was supposed to be 3 hands-on site workshops in the summer for those who kind of made it all the way through. It was definitely a marathon because we did 5-hour trainings on like 12 weeks of the spring, of each spring. So if you wanted to come, you really had to put the time in, and then we would either come to one of our partner sites, which have been at a number of different schools across the country. I'm going to name in a couple minutes. So the mission was to deliver this live stream to workforce educators, but the impact we really wanted to make is to improve this nanoliteracy for students across the country. And we wanted educators to incorporate micro and nanotechnology into their curricula. So here's an example of our training. I'll show just quickly. Okay, cool.
We're going to be starting with RIE, the dry etching technique, one of the dry etching techniques from last week. So what we're going to do is I'm going to quickly demonstrate the etch mechanism for this special sample. I don't know if you can see it now. Let's zoom into it. It's just a silicon wafer, originally. It means that we had grown an oxide, and that is correct because I grew the oxide myself. It was a thermally grown oxide. Analyzing the thickness of the silicon dioxide with the ellipsometer.
So you can see the great camera work that was done. I double as cameraman when I'm not doing managing director work. A little not too steady with the hands, I guess. We also, as I mentioned, do hands-on site workshops. We've done that in numerous places across the country. In our partners, we've done it at Ivy Tech. We've done it at Erie Community College, as well as at Salt Lake Community College, as well as here at Penn State. I think I've captured everyone the partners that actually have facilities to be able to do this training. And this is our, I think, 2019 summer contingent. Some of you folks may be on the site, so you're getting some airtime here. All right, so. These are our partners that have partnered with us over the years. Some have come and gone, but Atlanta Technical College, Coppin State, Erie Community College, Forsyth Tech, Northwest Vista. I saw Neda here earlier. Pasadena City College. Yes, Jarrett is indeed a partner. Salt Lake Community College, North Seattle College, Ivy Tech, as I mentioned, and actually many RAIN and MNT-EC collaborators have also helped us out. So it's been a nice partnership, and I think has worked out quite well. So the newly funded NACK, good news is that our NACK Resource Center was refunded. It has, we actually, in this iteration of it, we actually reincorporated professional development into the mission here, and we also are going to utilize partners to do this training. We're actually in the redesign stage of that, how we're going to do this. We're going to probably do something different than these long marathon sessions, because that's one of the killers of it, is trying to do this. We don't know exactly what we're going to do. We're going to work with the MNT-EC and MinTech teams to figure out a better way to do this during next year. But we'll definitely do hands-on site workshop at partners across the country next summer, and potentially other workshops throughout the next year. One thing I didn't talk about during this professional development area, and I didn't make a slide for, is actually webinars, and we're going to continue to do webinars over the next 3-year NACK Resource Center. We've produced, thanks to partnering with folks at Maytech and ASU, we've produced 56 webinars over the years that are all available on the nanoforme.org site. And we're going to continue to produce these webinars, as I said, in this current funding stream. So that's it for professional development. I'm now going to talk very briefly about educational standards so we can move on to some of the other things. But this is an important aspect of things that we've been working on. And it is that infrastructure that I mentioned earlier that I think is extremely important to the future of the MNT workforce that we need to make sure that we take advantage of. We've been working for many, many years with an organization called ASTM International. And a team of people. Some of you are a part of this. I think I saw Deb Newberry on here and Peter's on here. And there are other folks from other MNT programs that have helped us. Ray Sui has helped us. He's been a co-leader with me on this. So we, over the years, have developed standards. We've developed 6 educational standards for the MNT process skill sets. They're called nano educational standards. They're really MNT. And they're actually to be used as guides for folks who want to train in this area and want to create programs in this area. And so that they're not starting from a blank sheet of paper. You know, I know nano, so I know what to teach. Well, let's make sure there's industry backing for that. And we, as I said, all of us have been working with our industry partners across the country. Somebody told me when we started this, somebody on our industry advisory board said the progress on this was going to be glacial, and it was indeed. It took us 8 years to develop 6 standards, and we worked pretty hard on them. And it took us, I think the last one was created in 2018. I think the final one, or late 2017, something like that. But we did create 6 standards, and as I said, they're through the consensus process at ASTM, the E56 committee. So this one, we had to make sure our I's were dotted and T's were crossed and things were available. The website to access these standards is on the bottom of this website. I'm not going to repeat this, but it is also in the handout that you'll be getting or have gotten already. So these are the standards that are there, and the numbers of the standards. There's a health and safety standard, there's a pattern generation standard, and the material synthesis and processing standard, a characterization standard, an infrastructure standard, and materials, properties, and effects of size. And they're actually that skill set that I mentioned for the NMT partnership and much more that we have incorporated into these standards because of the input of all the folks across the country that have been a part of this and said this is important to be a part of this educational experience. So the thing that we're working on right now, not complete yet, but we're creating 4 certificates which actually cover those educational standards. The standards actually are meant for the educational institution to say, I conform to the E2996 standard, health and safety standard, and E304. Maybe I don't conform to all the rest of them, but my program conforms to those standards because I'm focused on pattern generation and health and safety. Where these certificates are meant for individuals, for folks who are completing those programs, or it could be people who have experience by working in clean rooms or want to kind of make the next level of adjustment to the next level in their industry, wherever they may be employed. So we are at present, like I said, creating 4 standards which cover the 4 certificates, which cover the 6 educational standards. And those are in health and safety, characterization, and then we combine 3 standards into fabrication and processing and materials, properties, and effects of scale. Right now, we have completed the health and safety standard. We're on the last leg, so I'm going to say check, we're completed. We're in the last leg of the characterization certificate, and we're now presently working. We have questions for the fabrication and processing test, and we're in the process of sorting those out and evaluating those. And then the last thing we will do is the material, properties, and effects of scale. So an appeal to you, if you want to get involved in this effort, one of the things we do to evaluate these exams and to make them valid is to actually use subject matter experts, and we like industry and educators to help us with this. So if you're interested in evaluating these questions and help us to create these exams, we would love to have you on our team. We can always use new blood. You would actually be getting a subset of the questions and evaluating them for applicability and whether or not they're relevant, should they be included in the test or not. So it's really important work, and something that hopefully you might want to be involved in. And if you are interested, let Ozgar know, or myself, or Ray Sui, because we're kind of the leadership cohort for this at the present time. So the next thing I want to talk about is another thing is some of the connective tissue and networking that we started many years ago. On our own, we said, okay, we should do remote access to some of our partners across the state of Pennsylvania, and we started using, different types of tools. And I know we use LogMeIn, and we use some other things, some other things, and then we settled on this new thing about 8 or 9 years ago. So we were early adopters of Zoom. So we were one of the first adopters of Zoom, and we've been using that forever. When I went to our folks in IT here at Penn State, I said, we got this new cool thing about a couple of years ago, and when we wanted to do for this professional, what you recommend? I'd recommend Zoom. So we already had that, and we had the leg up on that. So we started doing this national network. Some of you who are on this today are a part of that. We're part of when we started going national with this, and we call it the RAIN network, or Remotely Accessible Instruments for Nanotechnology. And again, the website to access that is at the bottom of the screen, nanoforme.org/remote access. So the mission of it is to actually get out there and get these instruments, these state-of-the-art instruments, into classrooms across the country. And we really want to, think globally but act locally. So we really would like to get folks, as many of these RAIN sites as possible across the country, to actually work with their local folks, so that so students can see, oh wow, there's cool instruments, but it's not across the country at Penn State. It's at my local college here in San Antonio, Texas. My community college has remote access. They have these cool instruments here at Northwest Vista College, and they can actually, the students can see a pathway and say, I should go to Northwest Vista, or I should go to Dakota County Technical College, or I should go to wherever it might be. So I think that this type of thing can actually foster that partnership between educational institutions. And as I said, we've been doing this for quite a few years, and we really want to deliver this state-of-the-art stuff, and let students see the micro and nanoscale, learn a little about it from the experts, and see that it's a cool thing to do to stay in STEM in general, and perhaps nanotechnology or micro nanotechnology in particular. So we can actually work. This slide just shows a nice picture of people doing a remote access session within a classroom. You can see part of our website and how you access. It's got instructions on how to access folks and how to schedule appointments and things like that on our RAIN website. And we have 26 different RAIN sites right now. Some are quite active and some are pretty dormant right now, frankly, but there's a lot of folks involved, but we have a nice core group of people. We meet like once every 6 weeks or so. We have a meeting this Friday for those of you who are on here at noontime, Eastern time, just so you know. And right now we have 16 universities, 9 community or technical college, and we even have one regional secondary school system in Western New York. I'm not going to try and pronounce it. It's Caboces. I'll go with Caboces. I don't know if Jim Shifley is on here, but you can see where we're scattered across the country. So let's take a look at one of these RAIN sessions here.
And so I would like you guys to look at the bar, the measurement bar at the left corner, bottom corner, that says like 200 micrometers exactly. So while Jeff is zooming in, that bar is of course going to extend and get wider. So let's go in.
Cool.
So cool. And you can see that that Ozgar had Jeff zoom in. He didn't do the zooming in. He had Jeff zoom in. So this, folks, which is for our NPDP, but you could do this into students, and we've done it for students all across the country and all across the world. Actually, we've done it internationally also. Here's another one here.
Lily is going first. So Carly and Lily, if you want to try.
I can try.
Okay.
Okay. Is that Lil?
Yes. How? But I don't know how to control it.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn the control over to you, and then I'll walk you through it as we go through. So right now, I just sent a. And then we enter the SEM mode. If you look, one white, one green. If you click on that.
So you can see that Jim Shifley from that Cabosis actually was working with a professor, Lily, at SUNY Potsdam, basically, who was working with him and came to all of our workshops. And I think Jim was helping us out in one of our NPDP sessions here as one of our breakout rooms that we did some of this remote access at that time. So you could see the power of this. It's not just for students, but it's also used for professional development and also for connecting organizations, like, for instance, giving to the have-nots from the haves, basically helping them out and sharing the resources that you would have with people who just can't afford them and can't utilize them. So I think this is a good, outstanding a way of utilizing our assets. And it's not just for micro nano, it can be used for all types of different tools. So these are some of the different instruments that we have. We have a total of 40, I just counted them, 48 pieces of equipment across the nation that are being shared, that can be shared. By far, the biggest one that's being shared is the SEM, the scanning electron microscope. Probably 90% of what we do in the RAIN network are scanning electron microscopy. But there are incidents of folks using the other instruments for training. Mostly for training, direct training into courses. So we even have, we have vacuum training through Normandale Community College. It's I think one of our our newest partners, and you can see all the different types of tools that we have available. Just go to our website. I'm not going to go through each of these. So one reminder on the NACK is that it's available for your use. This is how you get to it. If you're not going to use it yourself, tell a colleague. Please share this. We have plenty of capacity available to be able to share this, and we want to continue to grow this network. And speaking of growing the network, if you think this is a good idea and you say, oh man, I would like to share this locally, this is not a closed club. If you want to be a part of it, we already have the infrastructure created. We try to get feedback from students and as well as educators to see how it worked, and we try to continuously improve the process. And as I said, the team meets as a team to share kind of progress in what we're doing and talk about what we're going to be doing moving forward about every 6 weeks or so. And you can contact myself or Ozgar to become a part of the team if you're interested. The other thing I'm going to talk about, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, is the MNT-EC, and we're trying to focus one of the things we did for community was this RAIN network, but we started many years ago with the MNT conference, and that was way back in like 2010. I'm not going to go through the evolution of it. If you want to see how we got there, you can look at the high-tech website. Myself and Jared and Matt just did a presentation for that for high tech, but I want to shorten it and say that this is really Matt Plyles, Dr. Plyles' brainchild at MNT. He really pushed this forward, and it's going, I think, quite well. It's forming a really nice community. I don't know where we are, but I know we're somewhere around 150 to 200 folks are a part of this community right now. You can access it if you're interested, if you haven't already joined it, at mntecsig.net. And the mission is to foster collaboration for educators at all levels, industry, and agencies for relentless improvement, which is a strong statement of the MNT workforce. So it's a collaboration of our centers, the projects, industry members, educational institutions, and so on, and nonprofits across the country. And this meets about once a month, and I think there's a meeting for this team on Friday. I believe it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're interested in joining, contact myself or Matt, and we can get you hooked up. Okay. So this is my appeal to join if you're not already a member. I think it's a really nice organization to be a part of, and actually helps us keep a pulse on stuff. So I talked about all these things on this page: workforce programs, classroom resources, professional development standards and certificates, connective tissue and tool access, the RAIN network, and the community that building. The new initiative that we're focused on, thanks to a supplemental by the NSF that we just received last month, are working with returning veterans, and we will be working over the next 14 months or so, doing pilot trainings. We've been trying to get this going in Southeast Virginia for a number of years, and we had some groundwork laid for this. But we're going to do pilot trainings in Southeast Virginia for returning veterans. We're partnered with Tidewater Community College and Norfolk State. We're going to do one in the spring, cohort in the spring, and a cohort in the fall of next year. And it's going to be a combination of live stream training by us, as well as folks at Norfolk State, who have a nice micro nano facility there. They are an HBCU, and we'll be working also face-to-face, doing some face-to-face labs as well as remote labs. So the other part of this is, in parallel to doing these pilots, we really want to sustain this and keep this program going in Southeast Virginia, in that region. So we're going to try and get approval from the Veterans Estate for funding from the VA, the Virginia Veterans, the VAVA, if you will, the Virginia Veterans Administration. And then the other thing we will be doing is taking it national, not just looking at that region. We're working with folks there's a lot of folks who've worked to try to penetrate into military over the years, people like Kate and Mel and folks across the country, Steve Kane and other folks. We're going to gather these folks together who have agreed to help out to figure out how to do this. How should we do this, and create the manual on how to do this as part of this this project, and then maybe perhaps take the next step. Say they're at City X that has a program and would like to do this and would like to address veterans, and there's need in the area for it. Well, then we'll figure out how to move it forward. So at this point, we're gonna take a couple-minute press question break. So to answer any questions. Ozgar, are there any questions out there, or if folks want to chime in? Let's take a break for a second, and then I want to turn it over to Ozgar. I apologize that I went longer than I wanted to, but shorter than I did in my practice.
Hi, Bob.
Hey, Minori, how are you?
Good, thank you. How did this South of Virginia Community College and the Norfolk is partner with you? Because we tried so many times, but our effort was so failed. I was wondering what was the catalyst?
Actually, just somebody pointed me in that direction. We worked with Minori is at Northern Virginia Community College, and we worked with Minori and folks in Manassas and over for many years, and it you know, sometimes you plant seeds and they take root. so that partner, well, I see Deb laughing because she knows what I'm talking about. So you plant seeds and they take root, and sometimes they just kind of don't grow, and we're still willing to partner, and actually we've asked folks at Nova, because they have a strong veterans, strong input to veterans, of course, being in the DC area. So we would love for them to participate. I talked to the provost at Manassas, and hopefully he or his representative will participate in that national initiative. We'd love to get folks from Nova as a part of that. So
because I was wondering what we were lacking, you know, that was
well,
my main concern.
I think it takes really a lot of effort to get something started and move the ball forward, and it's if you don't get that. We had a provost there, I remember, a number of years ago, I think he moved on, who was ready to go, and then he got moved down to Miami. So
the Norfolk State University is giving the facility to do training. Is that what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're doing the hands-on training, and we're doing some of the lecturing, and they're doing some of the lecturing. And the idea would be for this to move national, that people would do this locally. you know, and provide this training for returning veterans. If it was in Minnesota, if there was a base in Minnesota, there might be Dakota County in combination with University of Minnesota would do the training and, you know, do their version of the training. And we're actually tying those to those certificates that I talked about earlier, those ASTM certificates at the end that students would, that they would take these certificates. They may or may not have a degree. They may have other training, and they would then actually hopefully get these certificates. Any other does that answer your question, Lorraine? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Bob. Are you looking at being able to work with the schools to give like credit for previous learning for some of these veterans, you know, that have been doing related things in their military role? Is that school by school, or is there any way that you can facilitate that more globally?
We have talked about that. But it wasn't a part of this supplemental. However, Tidewater Community College has, in a local basis, has talked about doing that, and they do have a strong, obviously being in that region right there at Norfolk, they actually talked about figuring out how to incorporate these into their classrooms. And I don't think it's going to be a heavy lift, but I think it's going to be but once one does it, you know, you've got it going, you got that seed planted, and hopefully if you move to you know, Arizona, or you move to San Antonio, Texas, hopefully they'll say, oh, we're doing that in Virginia. You know what, this is how they're doing it. And you get the connections together and figure out how to make it happen in other places.
I'd be completely aside, but I'd be really interested in helping support that type of effort. If you can connect me with someone.
We would love for you to be a part of that. So absolutely, Deb. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Deb.
Because I think it sort of ties into what I'm doing for this center, so for the MNT-EC. So, okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Any other questions before we move on? Because I want to give Ozgar, leave Ozgar about at least 23 seconds to talk about what he has to talk about. So, you know, I don't give him too much time. All right, Ozgar, I'll let you take over for.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be quickly summarizing what else we do at NACK. So first thing I'll be talking about is SEAM that we abbreviate shortly. It's Southeastern Coalition Engagement and Technology Education. So we put a lot of emphasis at NACK on the minorities, the underrepresented minority students, and inclusiveness and diversity, of course. So while we were preparing, maybe Bob doesn't know about this logo, we said that, okay, so Norfolk State being one electron, Penn State, CNEU being one other electron, and Tidewater Community College being one electron here too. How can we work in collaboration together to engage these students, these URM students in the STEM fields?
I'm no chemist, but I don't think there's enough electrons.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. So before we started the project, it's very obvious, but our main goal was, or the main idea was, any nation will flourish by utilizing all of its talent and resources by pursuing the full potential of its citizens. So in order to do that, of course, we needed to draw significant numbers of STEM professionals from these underrepresented minority students, the population as well. So a model has been proposed and employed, and this has been the second year, actually, the second year of this project. And we work together with the four-year universities, Norfolk and Penn State, together with the Tidewater Community College, and together with the industry partners that I will also show to you. And we utilize nanotechnology as a pathway. So nanotechnology was just the main theme, actually, to encourage these students to work in the STEM fields. And let's recite it again. The Committee of Equal Opportunities in Science and Engineering, they reported that bolder steps and bigger investments are needed to improve the state of diversity and inclusion in science and engineering. As I will show you in graphs very quickly, there is a big disproportion in terms of the representation of these URM population in the field of STEM. But even before going into that, as many of you are already very familiar with, there's a bigger problem of the STEM field. A lot of these STEM students, only a few of them pursue their STEM careers after getting degrees in the STEM fields. So as you can see, only like 52% is shown in this graph on the left-hand side. And if we go to the right-hand side here, we also have a problem, of course, with the representation of the women too. Like it can go as high as 75% for the health-related jobs, but it can go down to 14% here when we talk about engineering jobs. STEM fields, the workforce, the demand is really increasing very rapidly compared to the other job opportunities that are arising, but we have a deficit of like creating these populations that we can actually recruit and let them occupy these jobs. So if we look into this graph on the left-hand side too, it's showing the women's representation and over the years from say 1990s to 2016 here. So there's a gradual improvement, but we believe that that's not good enough still. And some fields are actually losing blood even and or staying almost constant, as you can see. On top of it, of course, the main project that we worked on were mainly concerning the Black population together with the Hispanics, and the disproportionality that I was referring to. If you look at the all employment, 65% is coming from the white population, and we only have like a total of 27 or so from the Black and Hispanics, as you can see. And if you go to the STEM fields, especially, that disproportionality is even getting worse. So what did we do? So we tried to create this environment in which every URM student, the underrepresented minority student, who is interested in science and engineering should be able to pursue their STEM career without any barriers. They have to be able to achieve their full talent, contribute to the society with their full talent to scientific, engineering, and technology-related fields. We try to create leaders and innovators as role models for the future too. And we try to create this regional platform and network, of course, to broaden the participation and career development of these URM population. Okay, so this graph or this picture here on the left is showing you how this project came into being. At the center, we have PSU, we have Tidewater Community College, and NSU here working together, utilizing the loose stocks network here, regional HBCUs, the veterans that also Bob was talking about. So Tidewater was recruiting from community colleges, and while I'm talking about this, the main idea is, of course, just please keep in your minds, if you have any URM students that you can think about that comes to your mind, we're trying to recruit these students, and we're trying to get them allocated in these, like this program that we're offering, and do some research or go into these nanofabrication education, as I will talk about further. So we also work together with these government institutes, together with the industry folks, and that provided them the research opportunities for the students getting recruited. So this is a formula that I came up with, and a lot of people had some fun with that, but this project constituted top-notch research experience, plus intensive nanofabrication training, plus we provided workshop and research presentation over an 8-week period. So that's what the scene was about. So as you can see here, these were the classroom scene before the COVID, of course. That's from Norfolk, so a classroom from Norfolk. So this is a group of students that are coming from community colleges and also undergraduate degrees from many different universities, not just like these universities that were mentioned here. We provided the virtual labs, and we talked about the nanofabrication methods, and this is me broadcasting from Penn State and the students that are near me in the classroom here. So I'm working together with the students over there over Zoom again, and so these students were kind of prepared to the COVID era before it really emerged, unfortunately, but they were already working over Zoom and remotely doing things, a lot of things together. So we, Norfolk, actually, these pictures were captured from there. these students went into the lab and got their exposure to the nanofabrication facilities. And these students worked in the clean room, our teaching clean room, together with me. So, and after they completed this 3-week intensive hands-on and together with the theory nanofabrication education, we actually enrolled them into these research activities. So you're seeing that the students are working on their research fields in many government institutes or in universities. 10 projects were offered, and these are the students that work kind of together with me or around me together with my colleagues here at Penn State. We got really good results. Like one student came up with these optical filters, and you can see the results here, nice optical filters. So he got like exposed to, just to give you an idea, like a characterization tool, an atomic force microscope. He captured this graph here showing the little gold nucleation size, and he helped me simulate these in the computational domain too. So he really got good exposure. Another student worked on these. So just like quickly want to show you this. So she worked on these textiles, self-healing textiles. So let's go here. So let's say that the fabric was punctured. So if you work with this textile in this group, so the group that she was assigned to, she was working on these polymers for the self-healing purposes of these textile products. So you see that it came back. So I don't want to take more time. So that was about the seam. And here we go. We have a brand new master's program here at Penn State. It's under the Engineering, Science, and Mechanics department. So we call it Engineering at the Nanoscale. It's a 1-year master's degree with 30 credits. So if you have also folks that want to pursue a higher degree for the future, please, you can contact us, and we can guide them in these programs. We can give them further information. So this is a non-thesis program. It's a hands-on intensive. So you can think of it like an upgraded version of this undergraduate programs that Bob was talking about that we offer over the summer, etc. So just to give you an idea, these students, like say, go into the lab, do the electron beam lithography, and come up with these kind of nice pictures of these bow tie antennas. We teach them how the theory works out and how they, for example, interact with the incoming light and trap the light, as you can see here. And then we show them, like, for example, how is SCM working with the electromagnetic lenses? How can it happen? How can a magnet can focus the beam electrons, right? So we show them, even the undergrads can easily understand and appreciate how a magnet can capture and focus the beams. But we also show them how to model these, and as you can see here, the coil is kind of focusing the electron beams. So this is kind of giving them the theoretical background of what we already cover at the undergraduate level in this master's program. So we show them how the lithography works. For example, we go into the math, the chemistry, and also there's a lot of hands-on that will show them how a good lithography, like you see on the top left, right corner, happens in contrast to what a bad lithography can do. And before I leave the floor to Bob, there's the UNESCO chair that I will very quickly go over. This is my boss here, Osama Awad Al-Karim, Dr. Awad Al-Karim. He's the UNESCO chair, and we, CNEU, we hold the chair, the UNESCO chair. The main idea is to provide undergraduate and graduate curricula of advanced technologies in formats that can be offered at geographically dispersed institutions throughout Africa and also as well as the Arab world, which may not have immediate access to these facilities, staff, and faculty expertise. And I believe that we are kind of famous, and our friends here can also prove me wrong, or we're kind of famous in Tunisia and Morocco. I would like to think about that in that way. So we develop these programs, we develop these curricula, we develop these online training programs, but we also help the instructors for them to access, or say the remote access, remotely accessible tools. We give them this exposure to these nanofabrication and characterization tools. This is a course that I built for UNESCO, nanophotonics, but this is just one example. There are other courses that we built too. We put a check on all these items here under the main framework of UNESCO Chair. And we have lots of collaborators here, as you can see. So, and now I'm giving the floor back to Bob.
I'll finish up and say that we're integrating all the stuff that we did today into the MNT Education Center, the MNTech Center, working with Jared and everybody else here and other folks across the MNTech team. So we're going to, one of our main efforts is going to be in professional development. We've been working very hard on that. We're working, I'm co-leading that with my buddy Jim Smith, who used to be at Salt Lake Community College and who is now at Princeton University. We're going to work with basically the center staff and help them out at here at MedTech, and as much as we can provide some help where needed, and all the stuff that we talked about today. I won't go into the long list of items, but we're going to be working, just suffice it to say that we will be working hand in glove with folks here at MedTech. So that's it. Why don't you go to the final slide, Ozgar, and there you go. And that's our contact information if you need to get a hold of us. Again, we apologize for being a couple minutes over. So thank you those who hung in there.